Hola, and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including OK.K.O. Let's Be Heroes, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm your host, Alex Bonilla, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And Steve Zec.
Hi.
You can find our previous discussions about OK.K.O. at overlyanimated.com, as well as our discussions about all other animated shows we cover here. You can subscribe to us on iTunes at overlyanimated.com/iTunes or on your preferred podcatcher. Wherever you listen to us, we appreciate any ratings and reviews you can leave us to let us know what you think about our show. But yeah, today we are going to be discussing the Season 1 finale of OK.K.O. titled You're in Control, which aired on TV on Friday, the April the 6th. Yes, April the 6th.
Yeah.
And so that was a little new because we've been used to covering episodes that are released on the app altogether in like groups of 5 or 6. So whenever it's an episode like this where we can watch live and like get like immediate reactions, it's a bit it's an experience that was once a common thing in television, but today is but a delicacy.
Delicacy is true. That was a true way to evaluate it.
I'm so spoiled on watching stuff online in terms of you get the pause and play anytime you want. I had to rewatch it later that night when it came up on the app because, I couldn't fully see it. Sometimes I had to do something, leave room for a second or miss certain scenes.
Yeah, and sometimes there's those pesky commercial breaks that make you like, oh, well, wait, what just happened in the previous segment? Funny how old TV used to work.
And Fridays like a busy night for me. So, like I said when it came out, I was like, why can't I stick on Monday? Mondays are so much better nights for me.
No, Friday is perfect because it gave us the entire weekend to digest this, and now we are here ready to discuss. So, Michelle, you seem excited about this.
I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into the Boxman discourse yet. I want to stay high on all the great things.
Yeah, give your general impressions of the finale.
Okay.
First, what did you like, and then what did you not like?
I like 99% of the decisions that were made for this 2-part finale. Oh my god, that we could get a sense just from the promo that the animation was going to be kicked up several notches, and it was such a the whole thing was just so beautifully, lovingly crafted with attention to the most zany, cartoony expressions and gestures, and the action sequences were just so over the top and just gorgeous to watch. It was just it encapsulated, in my opinion, everything I just love so much about the first season of OK.K.O. And it just felt like a real culmination of that love and character devotion and just it was so good. I was so happy. Just there were so many times I wanted to just screen grab expressions, but it piled up so quick. I was like, I can't keep up. I just gotta enjoy it as is. There's too many to count. But it was so good. I loved it.
Okay, I'm Steve. Yeah, what were your initial reactions after going through the finale?
Oh, I loved it. I love that Dendy played more of a role than I thought he was going to. And just me, or I thought that whole Dendy, when she first appeared, yay, sing, and you put the whole, stuff around her. I thought maybe they're trying to develop some relationship between K.O. and Dendy, but I guess not yet.
Not yet.
Well, I mean, they went as far as Dendy literally saying, "I love you." That was just the sweetest thing. My heart was melted anyway.
Yeah, Dendy always does that. Just to me. What else? Oh, I told me before. I thought the whole recruiting RKO to our side and how that would resolve. I don't know, RKO in that scene, he reminds me of...
T.K.O, you mean.
Oh, T.K.O, I'm sorry. T.K.O, he reminds me of Jasper just a bit.
Yeah! Oh my god, Steve, yes! His raspy voice! I thought that too! Why not? Yo, I'm into this. Why am I into it? Oh, it sounds like Jasper. Yeah,
I think Steven knows what to... I think we know what Steven needs to do to, I guess, get Jasper on our side. Just get her a punching bag. Maybe Rose's picture on it, and...
Oh my god, yes! That would be perfect.
You just want someone to fight.
And maybe not keep him in the cage of corruption.
Yeah. That was a good call, KO. Good thinking.
Yeah, it's great. I do have to admit, I know, Michelle, you're gonna be very mad at me, but I do have to admit that Daryl was hilarious throughout the episode, and this is the first.
I liked Daryl.
And the one thing I noticed though, this might be the first episode I noticed that Daryl and Rad are voiced by the same actor.
Oh yeah, they're both Ian. Ian crops up a lot. He's also crinkly wrinkly, I'm pretty sure.
It was a fun episode. It wasn't as big a stake as I thought, since this was just pretty much Boxman. It wasn't like no Doctor or Professor Villainous. Is he a professor or a doctor? I don't remember. Professor, okay.
He's Dr. Professor.
Dr. Professor V.
Yeah. And I thought it was really smart how Boxman tried to pretty much keep his secret of being obsessed with the plaza from the board members.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and how he was this proud daddy to Boxman Jr. and watching the whole thing in the theaters.
A mini-me of him, right? He basically made a mini-me.
Why hadn't he done this before? Is my question. Like, he's so selfish.
I think Villainous. I think Villainous had to give him the idea, perhaps.
He needed that chip to really make it a big deal.
Yeah, but and I don't know. And seeing how the big status quo changed at the end, I'm hoping perhaps maybe now, if they're not going to focus on attacking the plaza, maybe the chance, at least for limited time, the robot children, Shannon and Raymond, and and the rest can become pals with our protagonist, at least for a little bit.
Oh.
You just want everybody to be friends, don't you?
Oh no, conflict only, friendship. I feel like KO would love that idea.
I know. Well, I'm just saying for a limited time at the very least, because I don't think they're really bad people. These robots, they're so cute. They're like Team Rocket-esque, and Team Rocket, they're not really evil.
Totally.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into what this means for the future of the show. But yeah, just my general thoughts on the finale. I think Michelle encapsulated it well. We're like, this is kind of the best of OK.K.O. in one little package, because it's got all the goofiness of it. Like, you got Rad and Enid being. I think they give them the snake thing. They give them the most goofiest faces that I think I've seen in a while in this show. But also you have the emotional moments of Dendy and KO bonding. You got Carol and Mr. Gar working together for the first time. What feels like forever. And you got all the fight sequences for people who like that stuff. I do agree that there were moments there that especially felt very fluidly animated. And we got a little bit extra of the plot thing with a T.K.O. and KO coming to grips with each other and eventually coming to that agreement. So it really does feel like a blending of all the elements that we've praised OK.K.O. in the past for all together in one little episode. Mm-hmm. And at least to me, I think that it was wrapped up perfectly in the goofiest and yet the most exciting moment of this entire episode, where Lord Boxman is revealed to the board. He gets shot out of a cannon into the sun, and we got Daryl in his cowboy outfit.
I cannot believe Cowboy Daryl is the new daddy.
New daddy.
For all the hot takes, that's gotta be the hottest.
Well, no, let me know, Michelle. What don't you like about Cowboy Daryl being the new daddy?
The issue with this is that, I can't even be I never really appreciated how great Boxman was until he was ripped away, because I always was Team Boxman. I always loved him. I always thought he was great. And he's just such a great, memorable character. I think that's the only reason this hurts so much. Of course I like Cowboy Daryl. He's a very rare card in his own right. But to usurp Boxman and to have Boxman potentially be gone forever this early in the show, it totally destroyed me. It destroyed me Friday, and it destroyed me over the weekend, and I've had a few days to sleep on it, but I'm still really upset. For the people listening, I was so overcome. I went on our Discord and I was like, you guys, I'm a reasonable person usually. I'm an adult. I don't get mad about stuff like this usually, but I legit wanted to talk to the show people and be like, you guys, please tell me Boxman's coming back. Like, I need to be consoled because, like, I didn't know this would upset me more than, like, anything ever in my life, but it really did. And I still kind of feel that way.
Well, when I saw the episode, I don't think he's gone forever. I think perhaps we might have in season 2 a Boxman in the Wild type episode.
Ludo in the Wild.
Yeah, Ludo.
Yeah, reference to our Star versus the Forces of Evil coverage for people who don't watch that, but.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I do think that the way it's portrayed, it is so goofy. It like to the point where, like, he hits the sun, and then the sun is just like, oh, well, what was on my back? Like this is such a goofy show that I think that like the door is open there for this to not be permanent, for this to be a joke. But like it's so much more interesting to think about like you getting rid of your villain like he was the silly one, but he was menacing at times. But to get rid of him after one season and to shift to one of his children taking over the business.
Well,
to me
Voltron
that's a very interesting direction.
Well, Voltron did that recently. They got rid of what's his name in favor of Lotor. So I guess Cowboy Daryl is the Lotor of the show.
Well, see, it's a bit early because Lotor has charisma. Like Daryl, I enjoy him. I enjoy his presence, and I think that cowboy moment is just perfect. But it remains to be seen if he can carry an episode. Although I guess we've had robot children episodes in the past, like they've shared the spotlight.
Well, let's be real here. What I really think, though, I don't think Daryl's like the new boss. I think he's pretty much a puppet of Cosma and the board, so they're like the real boss, and he's just more of a puppet. He's more easily obeyable puppet than Boxman was. He'll do what they say. So in reality, that's the new boss for now.
That's certainly another option. We could introduce, because the board has been kind of background characters for the most part. So it would be another step to like introduce that side as villains, maybe more prominently than they've been in the past.
But that's the interpretation I got, was Daryl's going to be the puppet to the board.
I do think Daryl probably hasn't quite thought this entire plan through, because it seems like his main motivation was like, even at the end when he's like putting Boxman in a can, he's like, aren't you proud of me? I like out-eviled you. But I don't think he's really realized like, oh, I'm in charge now. I have to run this whole thing. I can't go off and fight with my siblings across the street anymore. I'm Cowboy Daryl, Dad. Lord Cowboy? I don't know.
Yeah, Lord Cowboy Daryl. Show his title some respect.
What a title. I mean, like, and how are his siblings going to react to this? Are they going to just be like, oh, he, like, suddenly matured in the span of one episode. Okay, I guess he's our dad now. Or are they going to give him pushback? Like, I am curious about how that dynamic's going to work out. But
yeah, I just was seeing what they did to Boxman. I think they're afraid of him. I don't think they'll push him back.
Yeah, there's two options. They could have some kind of fear of them, or they want to rebel.
Mm-hmm. Like, why don't we all be our own dad? If Daryl can do it, why can't we?
and another thing this raises, if we're getting rid of Boxman, then what exactly was the point of elevating the Boxman-Venomous relationship in that second half of the season?
That was another one of my favorite relationships. Him and Professor Venomous and like Fink, that was like so good. And like, what kind of motivation is Venomous gonna have to come back if Cowboy Daryl's in charge and Boxman's just gone? Like, that's another, like, I feel like that's a big thing the show could really lose, getting rid of Boxman, and I'm not okay about that either.
Yeah, this definitely the Venomous thing is one thing that I do think would hurt the show if we decide to keep Boxman out permanently. On the other hand, it would be interesting to see a way where like Boxman shows up again without anybody knowing except Venomous, and that would help like secret plans more.
I mean, I guess, but what would his new motivation be? To like steal back his empire, or to get back at Cowboy Daryl?
Well, I have a theory though. A possibility theory is that the fact that he was replaced by a robot, that perhaps Boxman was a robot all along.
No, I think we've like talked about questioning Boxman's backstory, and he seems pretty clearly like partially human, partially robonoid, but not 100% robot.
Yeah, because he has an obsession for robot babies.
Yeah, he's got a chicken hand, not a robot hand.
Yeah, so the Botsman story was the big thing coming out of it, but actually what we had been building up in the previous episodes, especially in Action News, was Botsman building this totally new robot. It looked like an onion baby in the final shot of Action News, and it turned out to be basically like a robot Bowser Jr. pretty much.
Oh my god, that's what I was gonna say. He looks like Baby Bowser from Yoshi's Island. It made me so happy.
I was thinking more from Super Mario Sunshine, was it? There's also Bowser Jr.
There's real iterations.
Yeah. But yeah, like, what did you think about his design, Steve?
I like the design. He seemed a lot more smaller than I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be this giant, like, monster robot, but I guess they were going for the Bowser Jr. or I don't know, the mini-me type of character type with the design. The fact he doesn't talk is interesting. He's just all business. He's more animal than human.
You're saying he's more on the Michaela side of the family.
Yeah.
Michelle, what were your thoughts seeing that this is the culmination of that story?
I love him. I mean, he's got so many tricks up his baby sleeves. He's got at least like 3 separate attack things. Like he's got like the bottle missiles, and he had some kind of thing going on with his binky, and like he can just like open up parts of his body to like shoot at enemies all the time and like morph into different shapes. And I think that's like awesome. Like he's got a lot packed in there. And I don't know. I kind of like find it fascinating he's a baby, but like he is the most powerful spawn that Boxman has come up with so far, thanks to Venomous's input with the chip. But like I was digging him, and even like his like baby sounds, I was like, this is in character. I like this. This is good.
Yeah, I will say that his noises helped me to warm up to him. Like
I like his noises.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed by the design. It felt a little... I never got used to it, and I guess it was only 1 episode, so I just don't have time to warm up to it like I have to the other robots. But yeah, he had his moments. Also, like, his whole baby weapons thing was pretty nice, like shooting baby bottle missiles. Yeah. He had, I think the best visual gag of his repertoire is the get wrecked baby blocks.
Oh my god, the baby blocks were so freaking hilarious. And I do appreciate that Boxman like transferred his hair foof onto Boxman Jr. I appreciate the hair foof a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely his son of his father for sure.
Absolutely.
He's clearly the favorite.
Yeah, Botsman is also very loose with his favorites. I feel like
absolutely. Like, why would Daryl ever think he was his favorite? I feel like Shannon and Raymond get way more done than he does. So why would he even have delusions?
Like at the beginning, they show that Botsman is using like 100 copies of Daryl to do all his work. So.
But like, context of this finale, maybe it makes sense. But context of like season as a whole, I don't know about that.
Well, yeah, the way I break down, like if this was like a video game, Daryl would be like stage 1 boss, and Shannon and Raymond would be the more advanced stage bosses, which ranks your level of threat.
Where is Ernesto in this hierarchy?
He's either like I feel like he'd be pretty high up there if he was utilized battle.
He might be stage 6. He might be like the maybe the second to last stage before you get the Boxman, of course. Boxman Jr. I guess would be like I think the last stage would be Boxman Jr. and Boxman back to back to really give a challenge if you want to do that game. K.O. video game. Let's do it, Cartoon Network.
Hey, by the way, there is an K.O. video game called
Let's
Play Heroes. You can go buy that.
It's a good game. From what I've seen, it looks really, really fun.
Actually, for real though, please check out our overly animated YouTube channel. Our fellow host Sam Quattro has done some videos.
I can forget about that.
Most amazing Let's Play for the Let's Play Heroes. Her like, because I don't think she's watched the show yet, so just her impression of interacting with the universe was so freaking hilarious. I died.
I'm hoping next though she does Chamber of Little Witch Academia, Chamber of Time. I want to see her play that one.
Okay, sure, whatever. But anyway, so like going back into the video game mechanics of this, we also have a sort of boss meeting between KO and TKO in this enclosed space. Throughout the season, we've been handling KO, dealing with TKO, Dendy trying to get KO to control it.
It's so anime though. It's pretty much. It reminds me of say Naruto and the ninth chakra talking to each other. I don't know what that thing's called, or Ichigo and Hollow Ichigo from Bleach. What's that thing called? Naruto and the ninth.
I don't know. I haven't seen.
You're the anime expert. Get it right.
Oh, yeah, it's the ninth something. I can't tell off my head because I wasn't expecting to talk about Naruto. That just popped in my head, like that, like when they had those meetings, like the two alter egos of a hero inside their heads, who has the power.
Oh, so this is like an established trope thing, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's very anime, and plus the ending of the first half of the episode and coming to the start of the second half was definitely anime too. The bumpers.
Well, yeah, actually, going back to the trope thing, like, it is interesting because I feel like in a lot of episodes when we do this, when we have the normal person and the anti-person, usually what ends up happening is the normal person gets rid of the anti-person for
altogether.
Good. So, like, this conclusion of them coming to an agreement and, like, them sharing the bodies sort of thing, like, I feel like that's relatively unique, and it did take me a little. I think the show has been building up to that, but at the same time, it still took me by surprise a little bit, and you do have to wonder, like, is this going to affect KO in the long run in certain moments?
Oh, totally. Oh, absolutely. They set that up. Because remember, like, when he's walking back towards Carol, Mr. Gar, and the cloud looks like all evil, and then he walks and he's like doing a raspberry noise with his tongue. And then later when they're gonna give him a noogie, he's like, "Don't touch me! I have a new haircut." Like, I feel like, you know, like segments of TKO are like coming out of his personality as a side effect. It seems like the show wants to address that more in season 2. But yeah, it seems pretty clear they're gonna go that way.
Okay, it's called Naruto and the Nine Tails. That's what it is. The nine.
What the heck's the Nine Tails?
It's this monster that's inside of him. I watch the show. People who watch, I'm sure the commentary in the Discord will know who I'm talking about.
Naruto and the Nine Tails.
But I guess though you're right. You can just change of behavior. You could just be in a way. It's puberty, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's what I like about TKO, because he is kind of his like emo teenage form, and I love that.
And now he's going to be a controlled emo teen.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of this being the decision KO makes, like, I think it's brilliant, but only in the short term. Giving your alter ego a punching bag to satisfy his craving for fighting is like way better than putting him in a cage. Yes, I agree, but I still feel like that also means he won't be in control. KO will still always be the one in control, doing like the real stuff in the outside world. And TKO is only going to have that punching bag. And I feel like eventually that might have to be addressed. And maybe TKO is going to want more, more control, a full share of half, not just like ceding out his power to KO to use for himself. So I think this is a good short-term solution, but I don't know if it can withstand, say, like 2 or 3 more seasons without, something happening.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys because like the way that this is resolved is KO like makes a punching bag appear, and TKO seems to be satisfied with just punching this all the time. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's meant to be taken literally, metaphorically? And if it's metaphorically, then what would be the consequence of, say, TKO getting tired of using the punching bag or something along those lines? Because like I struggle to think, like, is this show trying to make it seem like a kind of literal thing, or is this supposed to mean something?
I thought it was literal, but then again, maybe it is a metaphor.
I don't know what it's metaphor for. I just thought it was just a homage to a lot of animes, because a lot, like, shonen animes, the main character has, like, this hidden power inside, and it's about controlling it before it gets out of control. Like I said, like, it's in Naruto, it's in Bleach, it's in a lot of, like, stuff shown in series. In JoJo Bizarre Adventure, it's... Mm-hmm. So this is a very anime trope, so it's...
But the interesting thing is that, like, in controlling it, what he's actually doing is letting the power be free and, like, letting it exert itself on its own. So, like, it's a weird way to portray control in this way.
Now I'm starting to wonder, perhaps, is Shadowy Figure a good guy? Was he all along just trying to help out?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, I forgot about it.
The thing about Shadowy Figure, and I am like pretty convinced Shadowy Figure might be KO's dad at this point. Because like, why else would he know KO had this power before most everyone else did?
Oh, that's again.
That's something he has too, you know.
Maybe he gave him that power.
Unleash it all at once.
Maybe he gave him that power, just like in Naruto. He got the Nine Tails. His dad, his parents sort of gave it to him, and
what is the Nine Tails though?
Okay, you should go.
It's a monster that's kind of like T.K.O, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'll send you a wiki about the Nine Tails after we're done.
The only reason I'm indulging this is because T.K.O has done a lot of anime references in the past, so this is actually believable.
It is believable.
Yeah. So, so we are gonna have to deal with more T.K.O. Let's see other big things. I guess related to T.K.O. We have Dendy in the finale, which I know we were discussing. Like, is that gonna happen? Is that not gonna happen? And I was surprised at how much Dendy we got. But I enjoyed every moment she was on screen.
All of us are Team Dendy. So
yay! We need to get that sound effect for the show.
The yay! Yeah, we should. We should get our own soundboard just for that.
Yeah, but also just I think the particular sequence that stood out when Rad and Enid are breaking into the factory and trying to stop T.K.O. and they fail, and then Dendy just pops up and like she's watching T.K.O. and Boxman Jr. fight. They're making these lines in the sky, kind of like planes, while she's giving her monologue. Like that just visually stood out to me as one of the moments where the animation really stuck out.
I think they're trying to send a message that Dendy should be part of the team. They should think of her when it comes to being part of the fighting team when there's an emergency.
And they do in this episode.
Asset. They really should use her more. And she kind of threw a little shade. They're like, "Oh, it's a good thing you forgot to bring me, because like I know what to actually do about this." And I was like, "Hey, that's right, Dendy. You tell him."
She's the fourth ranger.
All right.
She's the fourth ranger?
Because originally there's three. There's K.O., Rad, and Enid.
But I thought there were always four Power Rangers.
Actually, no, a better comparison, though, she's tough. She's tough. Tough was the fourth one.
Dendy counts for two, because she's that important.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she might be small in stature, but she counts for two.
We should note that Hope This Flies, which we covered in our last podcast, by production order is technically a season 2 episode. And like that episode, like Rad is still kind of like, "What, Dendy? Why are you here?" Pretty much. Yeah. So you have to wonder if that's going to carry over or not. But I wish it does. Like I really do hope that Dendy is being incorporated into as a real team member going forward.
Plus, that episode has the season 1 opening. Are we going to get a new one season 2? Perhaps, since we changed villains.
Oh, that's actually like the one thing I thought was hilarious about Boxman, dying essentially. It was like when he shot out the cannon and he lost the planet and the KO letters for the intro. I was like, "Oh my god, show, you're so amazing. No, this is too good."
Speaking of, they play the intro music during the fights, which is incredible.
I noted that. I was like, "Oh my god, now you know it's serious. It's the KO theme song coming back."
Only thing though, I think they had no lyrics; they're just instrumental. And sometimes, like in anime, we had this big fight, and they do they do the opening thing. They sometimes include the lyrics to make it more epic.
I'm glad they didn't, because at least to me, I prefer the instrumental over the lyric version.
Yeah, I still like the song, but I feel like it would have been distracting to have both. One thing about Dendy, I wrote this down too. At the end when she's talking to KO after he's controlled his power finally, and she's like, "Thanks for helping me get an emotional breakthrough." And she's congratulating on his breakthrough with T.K.O. I'm just like, "Oh my god, that's so true!" This is this is another culmination, because it's not the both of these. I love friendships that have people both, having some kind of symbiotic relationship going on. Dendy helped KO, like, get used to TKO and harness that power, which is great for him. But he helped her, like, get, like, caring about people and being a good friend and having friends and the emotional science she refers to. I'm just like, oh my God, yes! They're both helping each other! And it's like an equal relationship, and that's so important. Yay!
And we've already had a Dendy and Rad episode. Now we need a Dendy Enid episode.
Yeah. Actually, that'd be great.
Yeah, that's one pairing we haven't seen. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree that that's part of what makes the Dendy KO relationship just such a fun part to watch of this show. Like, it is almost equal on both sides. Like, we see both of them improving each other. And that's just a thing that I guess we're starting to see that a bit more with relationships in children's programs. But, like, it's always nice to see it done like this emotionally rewardingly.
Dendy compared to Connie,
I mean, I think they're pretty fair in terms of being mutually beneficial. I mean, that's the thing I'll say. Like, I don't ship Steven and Connie because I think there is such a drought of boy and girl relationships that don't potentially manifest into romantic relationships on TV, because I think they're equally important and we don't see them as much. But I do think their relationship is grounded in, like, a lot of mutual respect and trust. And Connie has well-established insecurities about, like, just being a human and wanting to, fight with Steven and feel like she can make a difference. And the show's gone to great lengths to really, like, establish her journey with sword fighting. And she calls Steven out when he comes back in season 5. And, like, I think all that's really great. And I feel like Dendy and KO is, like, pretty similar in terms of just, like, they care enough about Dendy that they're giving her own arc too, and it's given a lot of decent time on the show, and I really like that. So I think they're both really good. I think they're pretty strong.
Other assorted things that we haven't really covered. The very beginning of this episode begins very cartoonishly with Enid and Rad practicing a dance together.
Yeah, and reference KO's video channel, which is just a really nice hint to the loose continuity, but the continuity of the show, which I really liked.
Yeah, and it just like, it reminds us, like, hey, they're friends with KO. Like, they'll actually do this for him.
Want to, like Rad gets so upset when KO's like, no, not today. And I just like, yeah, Rad is a softie. That's right.
He was heartbroken. Like, he just stayed there frozen like a statue in tears. We did mention the later gag that they, like, turn into snakes as they follow around KO and Dendy.
I love it. It's just, like, so over the top, and it fits the show's tone so well.
I love the spitting juice gag when KO's about to drink juice and he spills it on himself when they just pop in.
Oh yeah, when Dandy's trying to, like, help him hone TKO.
Oh yeah, like that sequence as well. It's a reminder of the laboratory episode, right? Where it's like, you're the best, you're the worst.
These are all established things from previous episodes, and it really, like, it makes watching the finale, I think, even more enjoyable because you see all these subtle callbacks that tie in really well and make total sense. And it's really nice. I feel like this honestly is a pretty strong season 1 finale overall.
Yeah, and another callback, Dynamite Watkins shows up again from Action News. And she's like, this is all culminated to this. Like,
she's very breaking the fourth wall.
She should have been involved, like I said, because she was a big part of this arc in terms of revealing that information about that robot.
Yeah, that was definitely
she had to be there for the finale. She had to be there for the epilogue, at least.
Also, Michelle, you said breaking the fourth wall. She literally broke a wall. Like,
you break a wall? I should go back and check. That's very important.
It's a very peaceful background behind her, and then she's like, the plaza is in shambles. Like, she literally breaks the glass wall.
Well, that just cinches it then.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that as, like, a literal fourth wall break. Let's see here. There's this moment where, like, everybody tries to fight Boxman Jr. and fails. KO's like, I'm gonna release T, and then Carol just stops, like, hey guys, teamwork, friendship.
Yeah.
That was a random aside, and of course everybody just runs away as soon as the sign is about to fall on them, and so that's what impulses KO to get TKO out. Let's see. There's also this scene where Boxman, Raymond, and Shannon are watching Boxman Jr. from the theater.
Oh, he's pretty good. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, like Raymond and Shannon are impressed. Daryl throws a soda at the screen. Have you guys ever gone as far as to throw anything in a theater before?
No, only my contempt verbally, but not a physical object.
Well, that's more than I've thrown, so...
Yeah, I don't throw stuff. Though at times I do want to maybe like tell like certain little kids to shut up when I'm trying to watch.
Oh no! Well, if it's a kid movie, that's really not fair, Steve.
I mean,
why are you being kids in this movie? Go home. This is my movie.
Well, I'm fine with that when it gets to like PG-13, like Star Wars or Black Panther or something like that. There, you have the right.
Yeah.
But because he gets kicked out of the theater, this is where he decides to call the board of directors, and we begin to see his plan going into motion. We have the whole fight scene between T.K.O. and Boxman Jr. We have Dendy being thrown up to hug TKO midair. That was very sweet.
That was a good piece of animation too. And another that stuck out to me, which occurs to me now, was another callback, is when Mr. Gar and Carol teaming up and they both do the elbow move. That was definitely a callback to Glory Days, because that's like the first time
that's the same move, right?
Yeah, and so it's there like, oh my god, they've come so far. They're like working together again finally. This finale is just awesome, is what that means.
It's bringing back all the good episodes.
It's bringing back all the good stuff.
We didn't get like the furries episode. We didn't really get a callback to that.
I'm pretty sure that's not canon. At least I hope not.
It is though.
You keep telling yourself that.
On human suit in one of his YouTube videos in the T.K.O video channel, so it is unfortunately canon.
I just hope maybe off screen they found a cure for that. I'm sure if anyone could do it, Dendy can.
So they end up defeating. We have our happy moment all together, and I think it's either Dynamite Watkins or just the show puts the end, like they have the end, but they spell it wrong with a B. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not, but
I didn't even notice that. So good job, Alex.
It's just me. I think didn't the old scene of Daryl taking control, Boxman,
that
and all that
happens
stuff
after the end.
Yeah, so that's like a post-credit sequence.
Technically,
it
right?
is like a post-credit sequence.
Also, with the end, it also says we'll see you next season, so that's nice.
Aww, okay.
But yeah, so then we have this post-credit sequence where they're holding a funeral for Boxman.
That was so cute, and I remember now, like when Boxman gets unfortunately destroyed. I'm never gonna get over this, you guys. But then like everyone's like, well, who's gonna be the new daddy? And like little Jethro with this little funeral black bow tie on's like, how about me or something? And then they just like brush him aside. But it's just like, oh my god, Daddy Jethro, I'm here for you.
I mean, if he grew bigger, like
well, I think Junior Boxman proved size isn't everything. Sometimes it's the chip and how you use it that counts.
Well, maybe he should go rob the grave and take his chip.
Yeah, he should rob the grave. Maybe that will happen.
So we have this final scene where the whole plan of Daryl is revealed. The board fires Boxman, and then they literally fire him in a cannon of Daryl's to the sun. And yes, the climax of Lord Cowboy Daryl warming his way into my heart in a matter of 5 seconds.
How did he warm his way into your heart? I still feel like this is a pretty drastic thing for Daryl to do. I didn't think he was capable of being this evil. I was genuinely surprised by this turn of events.
Look, man, a desire for revenge can do strange things to a robot.
Yes, that's true.
I wonder what that cowboy thing's supposed to be. Western Cowboy Bebop, or perhaps Oil Tycoon, or...
I don't know, but we did say Cowboy Daryl referenced in a card earlier. I believe in Mystery Science Fair.
K.O got one level higher. He leveled.
Yeah, he did. He got a whole level higher. He got like 0.9 plus. That's a lot.
I kind of wonder if every season he's gonna go up one level. Like if we have 10 seasons, he could go up to level 10.
I mean, I feel like that takes some of the mystery away, though, right? If it was just like this thing that was guaranteed every season.
Also, we kind of have to think: do power levels matter?
I don't know. true.
Well, like the show at the beginning, like the first 10 episodes or so, we kind of made them really important. But since then, have we really had power level discussion?
Not really. I mean, I guess it was framed mostly around KO's insecurity, right? About his placement. And now that he's getting more just okay doing his thing, it doesn't seem as important. So I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that'll change the dynamic of season 2 also.
Yeah, maybe he'll flaunt his power level to all the weaker beings of the plaza.
That'd be T.K.O. teenage side of him coming out. If he did that.
KO wouldn't do that, but maybe T.K.O. That's a different story.
So yeah, all in all, I think we can all agree this was a very strong season 1 finale.
Definitely.
Would you go as far as to say this was best episode of the show so far?
No, because as we've said, part of the joy is finding all those callbacks and just like appreciating where the characters are now versus what we've seen them grow through the past. I don't know, what was this? Was this like 52 episodes? How many episodes was this?
I want to say 52.
Yeah. So I feel like as its own thing, you lose kind of some of that looking at it as a standalone, because I feel like the thing that makes it so good is like knowing these characters and how they got to where they are now, and that's a pretty pivotal part of enjoying it, I'd say, as a fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fair thing to think. Like this episode was a great experience, but because of all the building blocks that we've had to really use it as a foundation.
Yeah, it was a great episode. It's not on the level of say of Jailbreak or something like that, but
well, I wasn't saying best episode ever, but
well, it's fair to compare the season 1 finales to each other, like compare it to other season 1 finales.
Different things and shows, and I feel like Jailbreak is kind of it's trying to accomplish different things, and I feel like everything KO is and does so well as a show is highlighted so much in that finale that I feel like for that reason it's just like a really strong finale that showcases that particular show style and cartooniness so well. But that doesn't necessarily Steven Universe's priorities, and that's fine. So I don't compare them too much in terms of like, oh, this one's clearly better, because I think they want things.
Well, that's why though I am pretty sure Boxman is going to be okay. I don't think he's dead. Again, like listeners on the Discord, I was like, after I like stopped ranting in all caps about like how upset I was and like how could you show, I was like, do you guys really think Boxman's dead for real though? Do you think he's back? The only thing I would worry about is the fact that his voice actor is a very big time voice actor, Jim Cummings. He might not just be available anymore. That's the only reason I might fear for him being dead, but I doubt that.
Did you see? Well, I mean, the voice actor's still alive, isn't he? They could still bring him back, like, occasionally, couldn't they?
Yeah, theoretically. Well, I guess we should say something here. It is Monday. We're a couple days removed from this. Well, let's put it up to you, Michelle. Do you want to know or do you not want to know?
Wait, what are you saying?
You want to see the season 2 like couple clips?
There's a season 2 preview that I could link you, and we could see your live reaction to it, or you could try to stay unspoiled until the very end.
Is something about Boxman gonna happen?
Maybe or maybe not.
Why saying it like that? You guys, you know how upset I was on Friday. Like
I know that's why I'm unsure if I really want to show you or not, because like it might do things.
On Friday, I was like really excited. I had been told that I was getting this new job that like I've wanted for a long time. I was gonna go on Twitter and tweet about how excited I was. I watched the finale of OK.K.O. and I was so blindsided by Boxman's demise, I couldn't think of anything else for like 48 hours. I've never been this upset about a character potentially not being on a show anymore.
Well, okay, then I think you deserve to watch this.
Yeah, come on, watch it, Michelle. Do it.
Okay, so for the listeners, I have linked the YouTube video of the promo titled Lord Cowboy Daryl. So we're going to give Michelle. Let's hear your live reactions to this video, Michelle. We'll edit this out in post.
Oh my god, so advanced, Alex. Oh, beautiful YouTube Red ad.
Yeah. No ads. Ew.
We have ads?
2 times the ad block, and it still got its way through somehow.
Oh, I normally watch on Firefox, so.
Oh wow, he's got a belt that says "Daddy." He doesn't have daddy issues at all.
You're watching it, Michelle?
Yeah, Steve, shut up.
Okay, he's like happy. He's got his hat. He's walking. Oh, he's got a lasso. Wow. Okay. Oh, so he actually is being a good businessman. He's making all these robots. He's doing a good job. Oh. Deputy Shannon. Okay. Lord Cowboy Daryl. That's his new name. 3 months. Okay. He's monologuing. He's glad he fired him to the sun. Oh, he has so much daddy issues. Oh, Cowboy Daryl. You sweet boy. What? No! No! What? Oh my god! Oh my god, I just got back from the sun! Oh my god. You guys should have... Okay, I have to pause. You guys should have told me this over the weekend. When did this come out?
It came out yesterday.
Me. I was so upset.
The sun just pooped him out.
It's the biggest relief I've ever felt.
The sun didn't agree with him. It was bad indigestion for the sun.
Okay, he's like gonna be around in the foreseeable future.
Theoretically, I don't think you need to watch the rest. But the point is that Daryl remains the boss, but Boxman is kind of like, what happened here? So that's the remainder of the promo. So
yeah, he's Ludo season 2.
I guess that's one way to describe it. But so yeah, now that we have that knowledge, how do you feel about a dynamic where Boxman exists, but Daryl is still the boss of Boxmore?
I love that because Boxman needs something new to do also because he's been stuck in this rut all season of being distracted by Lakewood Plaza and not getting robots fixed. And there was no reason for him to change that. And so he needs to have new motivation and have a new like direction to go in his life. And I feel like Cowboy Joe's going to be a great like reason for him to go on that new journey. And I'm really happy because another thing I was upset about potentially him dying was like he has so much to learn, and I feel like he there's so much potential left with Boxman. To get rid of him completely would be such a loss this early in the show. But I really love the idea of him being able to do something completely different now that he doesn't have to worry about the robot empire. So I'm like super fine with that.
Yeah, that was my take too. Like it's a change to the status quo, but you're not getting rid of a good character. That's kind of like the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, totally. I like that. I'm still like coming down.
Does this improve your impression of the finale now?
Absolutely. Because again, that was like my only complaint. Everything else I was over the moon about. I'm really glad it's okay. You really never know what you have till it's almost gone, you guys. For real.
Yeah, that's the moral of this podcast here. Appreciate the good characters you have while they're alive.
Yeah. And before you judge an episode, watch the previews for the next one.
Yeah, there are other previews, but they're not as important. Like, this is the one you needed to watch.
I'm glad this didn't peak up before the finale. It would have made no sense at all.
See, you didn't see the part, though, of seeing how the plaza, everyone just dancing, like, spinning, just dancing around in happiness. They're not attacking the plaza, which gives me hope maybe in this season, the robot children and our protagonist can be chill for at least a little bit.
Yeah, because that's the thing we need to cover too. Like, what is Daryl's deal? Like, is it only to make money? Like, or does he care about the plaza still? Not really. I don't think he cares
about the plaza. Well, it's not a promo, but from that sneak peek, it looks like he really is business oriented 100%. And I can foresee the other siblings being like, but we're bored though. We want that's why we were created, to fight things. What are we supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe now we can get we could get a continuation of that Rad Shannon plot.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of characters to check in on for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Now, we do know, well, we know that there are 3 episode titles from the promos they released, but we don't know dates yet. So we're back to where we were before. It's just like whenever new episodes show up,
you feel like
it. We'll be here to cover them whenever they show up.
Well, like I said, I'm sure though eventually the robots are going to be going back to trying to destroy the plaza. But for now, just for at least a limited time, let's just do something interesting here with them trying to be civil towards each other.
Steve just wants robot happiness, and maybe that's what we all should strive towards.
It's a worthy goal, but I also like seeing things happen in this show, so I'm kind of inclined to want there to be some kind of drama.
Steve wants peace, Michelle wants fighting. What do we do? Okay, K.O. Hooray. Like, that's the show, right?
That's the show.
Well, until we have other OKKO episodes to talk about, you can find out all the info on this podcast at overlyanimated.com. Michelle mentioned our Discord earlier where we reacted immediately to these episodes. If you want to chat with us there about OKKO or other shows that are premiering, you can always find us there at overlyanimated.com/Discord. We also always appreciate any financial help you want to provide our podcast via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Kent, a.k.a. Kent Brockman. And thanks as always to our Patreon executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Andy, and Hugh. Alongside OKKO, we also have Star vs. the Forces of Evil podcast. We've got Miraculous Ladybug podcast. Another Steven Universe alumni, Craig of the Creek. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
You spoiled the surprise.
That's not a surprise.
That's not a surprise.
Advertise that on Twitter.
Yeah, it's been tweeted about it.
Get with the program, Steve.
Well, I'm excited to talk about that.
But yeah, so Steven Universe has provided a lot of fruits. We've enjoyed this one, so we'll see how Craig of the Creek does with in following in the footsteps that Cartoon Network has provided.
Oh, and one more thing. May 4th, DuckTales is coming back.
Yay! Finally! Man,
in the US, for real. Here, in our country.
For real.
In our country, yeah.
Country.
That's a good a disclaimer to put. But yeah, any final thoughts before we leave here, guys?
I'm really happy and kind of mad at you a little bit, Alex, but mostly happy.
That's fair. You, Steve.
But just have some peace for just a little bit, and Dendy become officially a main character, a regular, as much as Rad and Enid are.
Hashtag Dendy for main cast.
Really nice. Yeah.
Hashtag add Dendy to the intro.
To the intro.
Is she not in the intro?
No,
I don't think she is.
I don't think she is. Carol is.
Confused with the parody intro in the Let's OK Dendy episode when they did their own version.
That's true.
That's only one episode.
Yeah, let's give her more of an intro than just that one episode. Make her appear in every episode. Make us happy.
And maybe Cowboy Daryl can be the Lotar of the show.
Cowboy Daryl in the intro. Let's go. Well, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time. Adios.
Bye.
Bye.